Hi, Chris Popper here in Bangor. I'm joined by Coach Josette Babineau, the Maine field hockey coach, not in Chicago, back home in Orono. And Coach, how did the trip went well, I guess, in terms of field hockey, ended up 2-1. But how did the transportation go? I mean, that's a lot of moving parts, and you didn't leave anybody behind, and no sticks or anything, huh?
Yeah, no, it's a big trip to organize, obviously. The travel, everything went really smooth. The travel there and back with the flights were all on time, on a very busy weekend. And then the transportation when we were there, with the bus company and just all the planning that goes around a trip of that length. And also like being at one school and then driving to be at, Indiana for the last game and everything in between, but everything went really smooth and all the planning and everything that went into the trip worked out really well.
That's awesome. So you ended up, as I said, 2-1, a tough opening loss. I mean, the number one school in the country in Northwestern, you fall 4 to nothing, but then rebounded and beat UMass in overtime, and then beat Indiana, scoring 4 goals all off not penalty kicks, penalty corners. How Tell us a little bit about the games,
Yeah, the
please.
Northwestern game was 3-0, and that is a team that like it's the number one team. They're ranked number one, and between them and UNC, it's the top two programs. And to start off with that game, it's an intimidating game to start with for sure, with the level of experience that their players have and the skill level and the speed and the intensity of that game, and for our athletes to be able to match that physically and to be able to compete against them. I just thought that that game even though we did lose 3-0 for that caliber of game for our start, it was a positive start for us. The game, they're gonna have lopsided scores in some of their games, and for us to be able to be competitive with them, I thought that that was very positive. That second game against UMass, that is always just a battle for us. It's a game that is always a one goal game or an overtime game. And that game went into overtime this time, and we had already played the day before against Northwestern, and for them that was their first game, so we weren't like physically maybe as fresh as them, but to get that overtime win, like it makes such a difference because sometimes if you lose in overtime, it's very difficult to sort of bounce back in that following game because there's an emotional sort of letdown that happens because you've just poured everything in to trying
Right.
to get the outcome and it didn't go your way, right? So to get that outcome, and also with UMass, like we talked about before, it's not a game that we have been successful in, and it's a team that has a lot of movement and it's not as like structurally organized, and sometimes that brings like confusion for us, but we did very well. I was very pleased that how hard the players played, but also their execution, with fatigue, because the heat was like incredible also in those
It's that
games.
Midwestern heat, and yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So to get the win, like very, very pleased with the outcome of that game. And then a very quick turnaround drive to Indiana. It's a 4-hour bus ride. Have a day off in between where we just did like a very, very light practice. The recovery on that Sunday was so important for our starters. And then to come out on Monday, I knew that it would be a competitive game on Monday, but I just didn't know how we would last, I guess, physically in the game. Um, but we got stronger as the game went, and the second half of that game just executed very well on the attack penalty corner, and ended up with 4 goals, which was a really good offensive production for our team, and just a very successful opening weekend for us.
and to score off of those penalty corners we were talking before we started recording. I mean, those are set pieces, but then they go crazy once, a goalie rebounds or something. Talk a little bit about, you were saying that there are three phases with a penalty corner. See, you're holding back now, and you were giving it all to me beforehand.
Yeah, for the attack penalty corner, we work hard on like the first phase of the penalty corner, which is the set piece, right? So there's like a number of set plays that we have. And then, but most importantly, we talk about the second part and the third part of the penalty corner. So the second part is, getting yourself in good position for rebounds. And then the third part is, the execution of that rebound, because you're still in a numbers up situation for like only a few seconds, but you're in a numbers up situation. So often it is like that second and third part of the penalty corner that is more dangerous even than the first part of the penalty corner. So it is something that we haven't focused on a ton in practice, but we talk about it, and it's something that it's like best executed as the game's going on. And our players got into good position, and then they were able to really stay composed with the finishing part of the execution and getting the goal.
For the delivery of the penalty corner, do you call a play, or does a player determine that? How does that? I mean, you probably, if you're calling it, you yell out a number or a letter so they know who to pass it to.
Yeah, we call out the initial play. Typically, the closest player to us will just come to the sideline and we'll just tell them what the option is, and then they'll go in and do it. And then sometimes one penalty corner, if there's a foul, it can lead to like another penalty corner. So at that point, we have enough experience at the top of the circle that they typically will look over at me, but they'll typically make the call of the second attempt on their own.
Okay. So it must be, and everybody got homes, and everybody has started classes on Tuesday. How's that going? Everybody's checked in, everybody's made their opening classes, and I mean,
Yeah,
you
we
guys are
have.
the GPA leaders, right?
Right, we have to maintain that.
Exactly.
Yes, they all did go to their classes on Tuesday, even the early ones, because we were back very late the night before. Yes, we saw our team last night. We had a welcome back event for all the student athletes at 5 o'clock, and just checked in to make sure, their first day of classes went well. And yeah, now it's like they're just the schedule changes, right? From preseason to regular season, where they're coming to practice this afternoon from having class this morning. And, we're going to be talking to them about the importance of their planning for that, so that when we have an early afternoon practice typically, so that they have, proper nutrition and everything coming from class to practice.
And then you have a nice weekend opening at home, your home schedule. So you play Hofstra Friday well, an early game at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's probably pretty good because then you're practicing around that time, right?
Yeah, the Fridays, just because we still have classes in the morning, we typically have a mid, to late afternoon game on Fridays. And then the other game times are somewhat around that Friday game time, because we have to allow close to a 24-hour window from one game to the next. So that game's at 3, and then Hofstra and Central Michigan will play each other on our field on Saturday at 2, and then we'll play Central Michigan at 1 o'clock on Sunday. So it just allows that spacing of time. So it'd be like a 3 o'clock, a 2 o'clock, and a 1 o'clock.
Excellent. And the weather looks absolutely gorgeous for the weekend.
Yeah, it'll be, I think it's supposed to be nice weather, and probably just a little bit cooler than what we saw last weekend. So it should be good for us.
And it'd be great to have a fantastic crowd to cheer everybody on.
Yeah, it's always exciting to just have your first game back at home, your home opener. There's always just a lot of excitement for that game. It's always just nice to be home on a full weekend too, to have two home games and not to have to turn around after the first home game and get back on the road the next day. So just excited to be home in front of our fans and especially that was a long road trip for us. So the girls are really excited to be back.
There must have been some bonding that took place over that time. I mean, I know that you were trying to assimilate everyone because you do have so many, well, I think it was what, 9 new players onto the team and from different um, countries as well. So it must be nice to have everybody kind of contained in that time and hopefully getting along
Yeah.
and working together.
Yeah, it was a fun trip. Actually, it's a very fun group to be around. And I mean, credit to them, it's their personalities, right? So it's not it doesn't seem to be an effort at this. It doesn't seem to be like something that they have to make a tremendous effort. It just is coming, it's pretty natural, with the new players wanting to integrate into the group and our returning players wanting to, embrace them, as part of our team as well. So it was fun to see the interactions and the dynamics in our team just continue to get stronger this past weekend.
I we were laughing when we last week when I asked Bree about whether she preferred Chicago deep dish pizza or Pat's pizza. Is there what did you do for fun when you were at Indiana? Because obviously you had a little bit of downtime.
Yeah, we didn't do anything. I can't tell you too much. I can tell you a little bit about the athletic facilities, and
Yeah, how was
they
that?
were impressive. Yeah, they
Big
were
Ten,
very
huh?
impressive. But I can't tell you too much about the town. It was quick because we had the morning, obviously the more sleep they could get, the better. The afternoon we made our way to the field and had a light practice, and then it's quick after that because we were like in team meetings and video, with the group, dinner video team meeting, at night. So the rest of the day we were all field hockey.
Yeah, it goes pretty fast.
Yeah.
Do you do, and I think I may have asked you, but do you do any kind of tradition when you go on road trips? I mean, do you have a dress, like Major League Baseball, they make everybody dress up in ridiculous stuff. Do you do any of that or as the season gets going or anything like that, or you're all business, or how does it go?
It's all business. They have a thing that they do before the game where they pick names from a hat, and they have like a different person that they pick, out of the hat for each game, and they give each other like funny things and like encouraging things before the game. So they do a bit of an exchange.
Yeah,
So some of it is funny, some of it is like, trying to some of it is giving them little things, like it could be like an energy drink or something, but
right.
some of it is they get creative with their what they do to each other. So that part is fun. It's just something that they do on their own.
Yeah, kind of bond. Now, if maybe I'm imagining things, but do they write things on their wrists or on their hands like little, um, eh, uh,
Like motivational or
yes,
like
yes,
reminders.
yeah, or
Some people do it on their sticks.
okay,
They'll like put a piece of tape or something if it's like a mental reminder for them, certain parts of the game maybe that they're trying to focus on, or if they're trying to stay composed or something, they might like give themselves a little reminder, sort of a way to like mentally, settle themselves down in the intensity of the game. But that's all I can think of for that part.
okay. All right. I guess I wasn't, maybe I was making this up. All right,
Yeah.
coach. Talk a little bit about the defense too, because you've got to have been very happy with the defense. Just allowing what the 5, 6 goals for the 3 games.
Right. we had talked at the beginning of the season how, we thought that we were going to be stronger with our back line and that we thought we would be stronger in midfield. And you could just see the strength of those two lines, especially defensively, the strength of those two lines, the amount of work and their grit and intensity that they had at the defensive end was just so impressive. So it is like a really solid start foundation, to the start of our season to continue to build on. But that part of the game was probably the most impressive of the weekend.
All right, Coach. Thanks so much for joining us today. Best of luck this weekend. We look forward to getting you back on the air next week. And excuse me, I know I'll be up Sunday to take photos, and I don't think I can get up there Friday because I've got football. But yeah, so look forward to Sunday, and we'll post some photos, and we'll, of course, have the game recaps on the ticket website as well. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you so much.